Good afternoon. How is everybody doing today? Good. Ken, yeah. Hey Ken, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Hey Doug. Great. We got a good group for a I don't know, after lunch for me. Maybe not for everybody, but this is always a time of day you got to fight off a nap. So I'm going to try to not let you go to sleep today. Is going to be the goal. We got a small group, and I want to take advantage of that and take questions. I want this to be a very honest and open conversation. Kind of the background on us putting this together. I mean, look, this is a really simple webinar. I don't have a big, bunch of content I'm trying to push your way. Roger had this idea of, hey, an AMA, like throw questions. Roger obviously deals with a lot of frontline support. You've probably interacted with Roger a lot, at least some. And so the idea here is I want to give you an update on our business and give you the opportunity to fire questions, hard questions, easy questions, anything you've got my way. So I'll start with kind of a brief update, which is you'll start getting some emails in April called Feature of the Week. This is kind of a new effort to do two things: educate you on stuff that we offer that you may not know about, because that seems to be a very common trend, and also give you some tips or best practices that we're seeing among our customers in terms of managing their businesses. I want to announce as well a pretty large partnership that we have initiated, and this is outside of kind of the FedEx ecosystem, but it's a really big deal. I think, Kim, you've already experienced these new cameras that we sent you, which we're still ironing out little things on. But we struck a major partnership with a big national camera manufacturer, and they are going to rely on our software, the same system you use every day, hopefully, to distribute all their data and be customer facing for them. So that company is called Wayland's. They've got a significant, I think they've got hundreds, like 500,000 cameras out in the US. So we're really excited about that partnership. Obviously it's growth for us, but it puts our systems, processes in front of a significant audience. And it's not the first one of those kind of deals that we've done. We work with some major insurance companies and different things. So I say all that to bring the point around that unlike some of our competitors, because I've got some pre-prepared questions and some of them kind of hint at this. Unlike some of our competitors, we don't only exist in the small FedEx ecosystem. We do a lot of stuff outside of that, which I think is good for you because it means that we're out innovating and building a profitable business, and you end up getting to reap the benefits of that. And we don't always have to fight with you about pricing, and like we haven't raised our prices in a while, right, Roger? And we keep distributing more and more stuff. So we want to keep that up. Notable achievements over the last 12 months, business analytics. I think most people have seen that in their account now, and the ability to import all your settlement statement data, your camera data, your motive speedings, your hours of service logs, and get to see visualizations of that data. Hopefully you're finding that useful. We are always open to take feedback, obviously. And we have the ability to customize that analytics experience per account. So if there is a need that you have, hey, we have to build this thing in Excel over and over again every week. Well, if you can explain it to us, there's a pretty good chance we can easily put that Excel that you need or that report that you need inside of analytics. One of the other things that we did, and I'm almost done with my updates, is we launched a tablet program in November. This came about from several of our contractors just coming to us for guidance around the migration to Motive. We were a Samsung partner. We've been a Samsung partner for 5 years, quite a while. 2019, so no, 7 years, long time. Anyway, we already had all the infrastructure. And again, I go back to, hey, we've done stuff outside of the FedEx ecosystem, because this was one of those things that we had already developed and sold, and we were able to really rapidly bring an extremely cost-effective and robust offering to our TSP customers by leveraging what we already had. So we can provide you ruggedized Samsung tablets to deploy Motive on. They run on an MDM, triple carrier cell phone coverage. Nobody's doing that I know of. And providing RAM mount hardware, all kind of in a package deal for a very inexpensive OpEx price. So we're proud of that program. We've had a lot of volume run through that for it to be 4 months. I think it's like 700 and something units the last time I looked. So pretty exciting. With that, I've got a few pre-prepared questions, but I'd love to pause right now and just hear from the audience. What do you want to know? What questions do you have, or comments, or concerns, or anything? Roger, what about you? I see a big smile on your face.
A lot of the things that I hear from customers is, I didn't know you did that. Right. Yeah. I mean, it goes around our mapping feature. It goes around our analytics. It goes around our maintenance, our pre-check, trip reports, a lot of the key features that people are already paying for that are free to them. And I'm glad we're doing this, right? I mean, so these are all things that are free to you that, I would like for you to take, I think Flint as well, we all want you to take advantage of as well to show value in what TruckSpy does. The other thing I'm pretty excited about, Flint mentioned the feature of the week. We're actually going to start it off with a really key subject, especially nowadays, and that's going to be around fuel and fuel purchases. So that article is going to be a series of 6 different little segments. Nothing that will bore you and have you scroll through multiple pages. We're going to divide it up, but pretty interesting about IFTA, also about purchasing fuel in higher tax states as well, which is counterintuitive to a lot of folks. So I'm looking forward to getting those out as well.
Yeah, and Roger, your team's worked really hard, obviously, at preparing content. And look, we're not always the best at marketing. We are not flash and glam. We're just not. It's not in our ethos. I'm not even on Facebook. Elise just recently figured out, she got on Facebook and got us a Facebook set up. It's just not where we live. We're very much down in the weeds of getting things done day to day. And at least I have a fairly technical, brainwave. And so it is a weakness of ours. We're trying to do better at communication with customers. So, but yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. And Roger, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like we do a lot of stuff that you get as part of your package. And I go back to, we don't upcharge you. We're never like, okay, if we're going to ship you tablets, or Ken, you bought cameras from us. Yeah, we charge to deploy hardware, but our software, it's not like, oh, pay us another $4 a month to get access to this thing or that thing or whatever. Like you just get it all. As we put out new capabilities, you automatically get access to those. So things upcoming, maintenance, scheduled maintenance, maintenance improvements as all. This has been a project for over a year. It's very AI driven. It's taken us much more time and much more money than I thought it would to train our own AI models, which has been an interesting experience, but we are trying to get that out to market by the summit in May. That's kind of the new goal. Initially, I'd said, end of the year, and it's kind of turned into the summit. So But that's going to be really exciting. Basically, think of it like a maintenance assistant, AI driven. You can just give it files, like give it invoices, give it, dump your previous registration in whatever. It'll organize everything and then kind of build and maintain your maintenance schedule automatically with the ability to pull in your motive DVIRs, which is really cool. So that's one thing that we have on the horizon. Does anybody else questions so far? Topics that you would like me to cover?
Hey, this is Mark Fusaris. I just signed back on with you guys with Roger's help. And just wanted to shout out, say I'm glad to be back. I started out with TruckSpy back in 2021. Had kind of a change of heart last year. Went with a competitor, and that was an absolute disaster. I can just tell you that. And so kind of happy to be back with the technical expertise that you guys have. I just signed up for the tablets here yesterday, so can add that to the tally. And I guess for what we experienced, it's kind of the general stuff that made it really gruesome to go with another competitor that did not actually the IVMR program that has to be done on a weekly basis was just inaccurate. And thanks to you guys being having the data and being able to go back several months, now we look like we're back in good shape, because it really kind of tarnished our confidence with FedEx and their confidence of us, because we weren't even able to get these basic things like monthly maintenance reports done and IVMRs done. And it was just a really bad scenario. But yeah, we're back on track again. And I really like the tablet involvement, because I do think the distracted driving events that we're seeing across the network, where people are using their phones. And again, some of the stuff, they're using their phone because essentially the ELD was connected to their phone. The cameras are connected to their phone. This tablet can actually take that away from the driver having to grab their phone all the time. It's hardwired into the truck. It's there. It's active. These are some of the good positives, I think, on the tablet going into the truck. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that's been our feedback. I mean, and that's been our experience too before Motive was even in the cards. The bring your own device is challenging for several reasons. One of those, I think, is what you were alluding to, which is we preach to our drivers, don't use your phone, don't drive and look at your phone. And now we're like, hey, your ELD's on your phone, so now you got to look at your phone, right? And so this is just, I think it sounds silly, but I think it's really hard in practice now to manage distracted driving. We also learned just historically that bring your own device, you'll run into problems. Okay, that driver's got a really old iPhone, no longer compatible. That driver didn't pay a cell phone bill. Somebody else forgot their charger. Now their phone's dead. Like, you have all these environmental problems, right? Oh, this guy can't connect to Motive because he wants his phone connected to his Bluetooth, Blue Parrot headset, whatever, and there's interference. Like, you run into all these other problems that take up your energy, cause, log issues. We learned really early on, like, ruggedized tablets. I mean, there's literally 2-3 devices now that I'm willing to stand behind and support, and we've put a lot of miles on them. And they're, water resistant and shock proof. And like, we've had several people reach out, and Mark, we're glad to have you joining the tablet program. I think you're set to ship next week. We've had a lot of folks say, oh, well, we want to do, some other device, right? And we've just kind of shied away from that. Well, we don't want to do that because we guarantee the devices. If something, Mark, if you get one of these, and we've had a handful come back to us, like, you have a problem with it, you're going to let us know. We're going to express you a replacement, and you're going to send the other one back to us. Like, that's how confident we are in that hardware holding up and being reliable.
So I'm heading out to Milwaukee next week on the REL customer appreciation. And so I'm a member of what they call the First 50 with REL. I know you guys know them very well. So we do this thing every year. We get together and we're all contractors. We're all in different markets. And they constantly do this kind of state of the state thing. So they go around the room. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'll be bringing this with me, this concept, and as well as other things that they've asked me to look at over the last year. But I do think that your added benefits, the settlements, the things like that, that's really where I think the growth is for TruckSpy, for us at least. And Flint, I'm not sure if I don't know if Roger said to you, but we also operate our own fleet outside of FedEx. So, and we've been doing that because of the cost cutting that's going on internally with the network. We've lost trucks, we've lost drivers, and instead of just kind of beating it down and staying there, I have a bad sense of saying, if the business doesn't grow, then, what are you doing here? So a couple of years ago, I went out, got our own authority, started paying very hefty insurance bills. Well, we're in our third year now, and we have 5-6 trucks out there, and we are growing incredibly large, to the point where I think we're going to overcome the FedEx business here shortly. And it took us a lot longer to grow to this size within FedEx, because they kind of keep you down. But that's kind of so when I go to these meetings with REL and we go to the summit, I'm looking at both sides of the business, and we're trying to grow. It's very difficult to grow in these opportunities with FedEx. So we've decided to go out, and we're really kind of exponentially growing at this point. We think we're going to add 3 to 5 trucks just this year. So we really are going to get to that point where, and I know Roger showed us what you're doing outside the network, very intriguing stuff. And we're going to continue to look at options to grow, and certain partners that we really need to get to the next level. We've been upgrading our vendors for several years, and I continue to look at vendors to take us to the next place. So I think you guys are a good stepping partner for us, both in and out of the network. So,
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and we're happy to help. I'm going to give a talk. Kenneth has it organized for me at the summit on, oh man, I just forgot my title. Bombs and Trump and the state of the freight market, essentially. We do a lot. We serve, obviously, a lot of people outside the FedEx network. We get a lot of feedback, right? Not only about what we do, but just general business challenges. Where are rates? Who's winning? Who's losing? So I'm going to talk some about that at the summit. I think it'll be fun, because the freight market's in a really weird spot. I'm happy, Mark, that you're growing. That's not everybody's outcome, right? In the general market, it can be, there are pockets of winners and pockets of losers at the moment. So, but no, we're thrilled to have you back. And what you mentioned earlier about IVMRs, I can just touch on that. Our competitors, are now doing IVMRs. That wasn't the case for a long time. It's one piece of our business, and it's a core, like, it's how we started, and it's a core functionality. We've invested a ton into that. Like, we actually build it from scratch, right? We take in all your very raw data, validate it, and you can see the outputs of that right all over our platform, not only in the reports that you get, but when you go to a map and all the lines are nicely stuck to the road network, and we know what the speed limits are. And like, there is a lot of under the hood stuff that goes into getting that right, and it being consistent all the time. And so I'm happy to hear that you've that you recognize and appreciate that, because sometimes that all that under the hood work is not all that sexy.
Yeah, well, I would advise anyone that's thinking of going to some of these vendors that are out there that are not even approved with FedEx, and they may have a really good golden wrap, is what I call it, when they're at the summit and they're over at REL and they can talk the talk. But man, when you get into the under the hood, like you say, boy, it is shallow, and it is, you know, just a disaster. And again, I was doing, just so you guys understand, I was doing IVMRs by hand weekly for 3 and 4 months. And it is an ugly process. I mean, I don't believe that you have to take it electronically and then turn it into paper and then they turn it back into electronically to begin with. That's what FedEx has to do with it. But I feel like I have a PhD in that business because of this, or that function of this business, because of the inaccuracies that we saw by this one platform trying to pull reports and data from Motive. And again, Motive is a new animal inside of FedEx, but we've been on it since 24. We were some of the first contractors, the first 5 contractors in the entire network to have Motive in September of 24. But so we have the data, but for whatever reason, their platform was not able to do it correctly. And we just constantly fell into this problem. And I know Roger's been leading this thing for you guys for years. I mean, I worked with him even back before I left, that we were working on this.
Roger, January 21, you joined.
Yep. Yeah. So there you go. So we've been at this for a while, but it's so time consuming when something doesn't work, when something's working against you. The time consuming portion of this made me pull away from revenue and made me pull away from watching our expenses. And because to some degree, we're wearing a lot of hats to begin with. And then you have something like this happen. It was a spiraling event. And so we look forward to getting back to, plurality of what we had prior to, I guess we left late last year, like October or so of last year. So anyway, I think it's been good. And I look forward to, again, a viable partner for us and a vendor moving forward. So.
Yep. Good. No, that's exciting. It's very good to hear. One of the questions we have on the list is, what do we do that others don't? Well, I think we're answering that. Like, our cycles are longer. We focus on quality, and we've got a breadth of offering that I think most people don't realize. So I think we've heard a little bit about that. We got exciting stuff on the pipeline. I would like to talk about Motive just a little bit now that everybody is getting their feet wet there, just kind of maybe on what our learnings have been, both from the data ingestion and accuracy side and, providing tablets that run that platform. So if you compare Motive to Omnitrax and PeoplesNet, I think you'll find that it's a lot more easier, a lot easier for the driver to use. The data that we get is much better. However, it is harder to troubleshoot, which I'm sure that everybody, right, that has Motive has experienced. It feels like so far Motive support is not fully up to speed on how TSPs work and what the needs are. I think that they're getting there. Some of the common problems we see, generally they all revolve around the relay, that black box that's under the hood. And I think that the Motive system is somewhat designed to appear that it is working completely normally, when in fact it is not. I think I saw Stan was on the call. Stan, I think you had a truck like this that took us a few weeks to figure out. But basically the relay can get in a state where it doesn't talk to the truck. Everything, at least visually in Motive, seems fine. But then when you actually look closely, like, you don't have odometer readings and you don't have speeds. And so there's some question there about the validity or correctness of the actual logbook So anyway, that's been one of our learnings. Anybody have a different experience or have experienced that same thing? No? Okay. One of the other common things we've run into, Roger, with tablets deployed is Motive always claims any issue you have, they claim you need an app update. They claim, oh, you just need to update the app. When in fact, that's just a lot of times not true. Like the app will be fully updated, but they still want you to update the app. Roger, we've seen that one a handful of times, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
And I think it's also important to know, I think the other thing Motive, and sorry if I'm on a soapbox here, that they don't, like the support team doesn't understand is when they roll out an app update, they pushed one the 24th. Like it takes a week for that to be distributed across Google Play. It's not like that afternoon everybody is able to get your update. So anyway, that's something we've tried to explain to them. But so a lot of good stuff in the pipe on our end. We're really excited about continuing to bring new products to market. We're trying to maintain, which Roger's done a great job with the support team. We want to maintain a very high level of customer support. We've been successful so far this year, achieving all of our SLAs, which is a 2-hour, right, Roger, is a 2-hour response time.
Yes, sir.
And 24-hour resolution time. So that's exciting, and we want to continue to do that. It's been a big KPI for us now for a few years. Roger, what would you comment on that at all?
No.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
No, I think the questions I get is, can we run OmniTrax, PeopleNet, and Motive all at the same time?
Yes.
Right. And obviously we can. When contractors or our partners switch from OmniTrax into Motive, it's really seamless for us, right? I mean, the device will switch from OmniTrax one day and go into Motive the next day, and you won't be able to see that on your IVMRs.
Yep.
Right. So all that data will just kind of blend right in and just makes it really nice and smooth for you.
Yeah, the only time that you'll get a problem here is if you get truck data that's all jumbled up. Like, for instance, you got 2 different truck numbers in one system, but the VINs are swapped, right? Like sometimes this happens with sister VINs, like we got the VIN numbers entered backwards. That can cause a matching problem. But like other than that, yeah, super, super easy. Good. What else? Anybody else have any questions or comments so far? Any topic that's on your mind? This is an Ask Me Anything.
Looks like we had a couple comments in the chat.
Oh, good. I didn't see that. Good. Maintenance upgrades. Yeah, we're excited about it too. We got all the AIs talking to each other in the chat. Ken asked if we're integrated with Whip Around. Yes, we are. It's very rarely used, but yes, technically.
I think when you do that, I mean, think about, I'll also bring this up, that when we do the tablets, we install we have the Motive app, we have the FedEx app.
Yep. Yeah, we can just look at one actually. And
as you do that, I mean, we usually lock them down, but if you need another app like a Whip Around or something else like that, we can push that out to tablets.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up. So the tablet configurations are completely customizable. Just for somebody the other day, we set up like a tire pressure monitoring system with a QR code, and it works great. Like pretty much anything that you need, we're able to, as long as it's an Android compatible app or tool, we're able to push it to the tablet. The other nice thing about the tablet is, I mentioned these app upgrades. You don't even have to worry about it. Like it just does it for you. Like it just maintains the most recent version, which is really nice. Like you don't have to have the driver do anything extra. It's just like it's completely no maintenance. Okay, so let me share my screen here if I can find all my buttons, and I will just show you. So this is a nice thing that you get as part of the tablet is you can remote view it right from the platform. And so this is, I've configured a test tablet like TLG's tablets. Like we can put your logo on the screen. And so I've got the tablet here in front of me, but you can do this right from the platform. So when a driver calls you and says, hey, I can't log into Motive, well, okay, let me control your tablet screen and I'll help you get logged into Motive, right? Oh, I don't know how to update my logs. Well, you can just show them here, which is really powerful. So like Roger said, we can push, like by default, we send info, Wi-Fi, brightness, FedEx MTA, which we built this as a custom wrapper to make it obvious how to get into MTA, and then Motive, the Motive driver app. And we can push other stuff like Tim at TLG asked us to do line haul. I'm losing my mind, but this line haul app. So a lot of flexibility here. And literally this is no, like you don't have to go to Google Play to do anything. There's no Android settings, like the driver turns on the tablet and uses it. You open it up, it comes pre-configured, ready to go, just like you see right here. So that's a quick and dirty show off of the tablet. Plus hardwire RAM mounting. If you're switching from OmniTrax or People's Net, normally you can just reuse half of their mount, and it makes the tablet mount like a 3-minute install. It's very easy. Stan, I know Stan's got them. There's a bunch of folks out that have them. They're on the call, so it's exciting. Yeah, Scott. Sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely underutilizing your product. So my question was, where can I get a lot of info on what's available, what to do, or should I just play around in the app? I mean,
you can, yeah, either. Feel free to play around. We are also, and we're like happy to go on a call with you too, Scott. We do a lot of account calls. Roger sets those up generally kind of on request. We don't necessarily follow a cadence. But yeah, just Roger, let's get an account call scheduled with Scott and we'll go through your account and help set stuff up or explain different things, help you take advantage of everything.
All right, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that
plan.
brings up another point that when I'm looking at customers' accounts, I go into vehicles, and this is actually going to save you money, right? I mean, it's because when I go in, I see a lot of vehicles that haven't moved in a period of time. And we see those as active vehicles. And those vehicles are on your invoice, right? So as part of the maintenance and making sure that, you know, time is money and what have you, right? Go in. If you're not using those vehicles, deactivate those vehicles, take them off your invoice, right? Save yourself some money on that as well. I mean,
and we'll automatically remove them if we see them leave your ELD account, like when you're changing truck numbers around. But sometimes, like if they're still hanging out in your Motive or your OmniTrax or whatever, then they'll stay alive on our site, even if they're not actively used. Yeah. We also this year put out several analytics reports. I don't know if you've gone to reports in the system lately. There is missing legs. So we do analysis. We send you missing legs if you have your MyGroundBiz integration set up. We'll also give you driver settlement reporting. So almost like if you took your FedEx settlement and you separated it out by driver and you were going to print the driver a pay slip that had all their trips, the dates that they completed them, who their team driver was, etc. That's in there. A lot of people are using that as a payroll detail page. And obviously there's a lot of that stuff in business analytics as well. So take advantage of those reports. if you haven't yet. IFTA, full IFTA filing in there. A lot of people have taken advantage of that if they're doing their own IFTA. It's less useful if FedEx is filing IFTA on your behalf. But you'll actually save money if you file your own IFTA. I think I've preached that a lot over the last few years. So
Also the unpaid revenue, right? Unpaid
Yeah.
FedEx trips. I mean, the amount of money that
Missing
I see in
loads.
there more than offsets the cost of what you're paying for TruckSpy.
Yeah, and people have had really good proof just sending that file. So if you have the MyGroundBiz integration, we will every week when we pull your settlement data, we'll automatically send you an email if you have missing trips with the documentation that you need to submit to FedEx to get them paid. And so that documentation is driver's logbook and a GPS history that shows when you entered and left the terminals. And that's been really successful. I mean, it's instead of you having to go and find and print and assemble that information, it's just all in one place, and you can ship it right off to your terminal. Try to make it easier for you. Like, that's ridiculous to me. Like, you should get paid if you leg like the whole just short a contractor a leg here and there. is I know it's probably an accident on their side, but it's kind of ridiculous. So anything else that you guys would like to see? Like, what are your pain points? What can we do better? Happy to take feedback and suggestions during this call as well. Roger, what can I do better? I should ask.
Are we
Yeah,
recording
I
this?
was going to suggest there are a couple questions in the chat if you want to look at the chat for the meet.
Am I just missing the chat here? I don't know. Am I using? Okay, data. Oh, pivotal. Okay, gotcha. I didn't see. I don't know. I'm not getting the chat notifications, I guess. Is data unlimited? No. 500. So what we do, everything's negotiable, guys. But the general plan that we've put together is 500 megabytes pooled per month. So if you've got 10 devices, you got 5 gigs of mobile data. Use it however you want. You can have one that uses 300 and one that uses 800. We don't care. It's not per device. Overage, like we don't cut you off. You can just keep going. We will bill you $12 a gigabyte over the 500. The reality is we haven't had anybody go over that yet with 700 devices in the field. It hasn't happened. And then more than one cell service at the same time. Yes. So triple carrier credentials. That's a special thing that we negotiated and set up a long time ago because we kept having customers not in the FedEx network that were operating as really rural, like West Texas, Wyoming, Kansas, a lot of agricultural and oil field people. And we set up this triple network coverage. So basically the way it works is the tablet scans available networks, connects to the best and fastest. And we've got, so like Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, and then there's like 18 other like roaming networks that are out there and available. The reality is there's like very few places in the continental US that you're not going to have operational cell signal on these tablets. I mean, the only, exception might be if you're in a metal building or you're maybe at the very, it down like in a cave in West Virginia or something, right? Like it's very rare that we don't have cell phone connectivity. So generally what folks are doing here is you're connecting and using the hotspot off of the Motive hardware. And when that is expired, right? Because they cut you off, then you just switch over to our triple network. So what most people have done. Does that answer the question? And that's a fairly special program. I don't know of anybody else that's putting triple carrier in tablets. Whip around, yes, and we are.
Curious to see if you guys have experienced any kind of UDE failures with current motive setups where drivers are using cell phones, and when they do their pre-trip inspection, they get out, they walk around, they do their pre-trip, and that's causing disconnections and UDE errors. You guys come across that, or any other contractors experiencing that right now?
So yeah, we use whip around. We're integrated. I see the problem with putting whip around on the tablet is they literally have to get out and take pictures of the truck. The reason why we went with whip around was because we see a lot of damage to the trucks. And so, and then one guy gets in the next day and then he gets blamed for the damage. So we use whip around in a bunch of different ways. But so they're basically doing a pre-trip, taking four corners of the truck, the pictures, and then that goes into the whip around. And then at the end of the night, their post-trip, they're doing the same thing. And so the only thing I worry about is if we're going to put it on the tablet, does the tablet come apart from the dash and they're able to walk around and take the pictures on that? That's the only, I think, logistics side of putting whip around on the tablet. I think you could do it, but then they're just going to sit in there and not take the pictures. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, Mark. Thank you. I spoke with a contractor this morning who does not use whip around, uses the motive pre-trip inspection on the phones, and that's what they've identified now has triggered these hundreds of UDE events. And they've had to go through a big hoop to get all of the information back to FedEx in order to get those cleared out, and through motive, my understanding is. And so their solution was whip around on the phones and leaving the tablets in the truck.
Yeah, that's what I think we're going to end up having to do, which isn't really a big deal. Again, I still think you're taking a large amount of responsibility off of their phone, which is a good thing. And then they still have to get out and go around. And it's an interesting sight. If you guys ever watch 4 or 5 drivers come in at the same time and you see them, it's almost like lock stock. They're getting out. They're all taking the front, the side, it's a real interesting look at it. But I think logistically, it's going to have to stay on their phone. That's what I believe. What do you think, Roger, about that?
You guys got more experience on this than I do, to be honest with you.
Sure.
So you guys are out there in the field every single day.
Mark, that is a good point. We used to have our drivers, when I was with the contractor, we used to have our drivers send in daily pictures. And it was a pain in the rear.
Yeah.
But what you alluded to is trackable and more traceable, not 100%, but it's better on who did what damage to which vehicle at what time by looking at the whip around pictures.
Yeah, and it's stored under that vehicle, the DVIR. It's stored under there. So when it was done prior to getting in the truck. So then you go back and you say, okay, well, the guy yesterday, let's look at his post-trip. And so, yeah, we've been able to bust a bunch of drivers on that. And again, as you guys probably know with FedEx, the drivers are a little bit more careless than the guys that are over the road that are living in the truck, and they're worried about their income. They're worried about their sanctity inside the vehicle because they're over in Memphis somewhere and they live in Colorado. So if you're just driving for 10, 11 hours and then you're going home in your bed and sleeping, there's a little bit more carelessness that goes on. That's what we've experienced over the last 6, 7 years. And so we like the Whip Around app. We think it's a little bit easier to go back and be able to check. And it is in it. So we're also in Samsara over the road, and it's integrated in as well. And so we like having things sitting on a platform, not being isolated, kind of like what we had for years here with FedEx. Everything was in their own little silo. We like having multiple things working off of one platform. Just makes sense, right?
Yeah, Mark, I was going to say we for what Flint mentioned, the cameras that we went with, I don't know if you're using the Samsara for cameras or for ELDs, because we've actually used both on our fleet outside of FedEx.
Both. Yeah. So
Yeah,
outside of FedEx, we're using both.
Can we lose Mark?
Seems appears that way. You lost me a minute ago. I got
Yeah.
kicked off. I don't know. It might be a Google Meet thing, but
Could be. I was just going to say that Samsara for us on our fleet, having to deal with Samsara for the non-FedEx fleet and also TruckSpy for the FedEx fleet, having the camera option with Flint now for the non-FedEx is pretty good for us, because then it brings us to be able to do both on the TruckSpy platform. So that was a nice benefit. If you need some of the stuff Samsara does, great. We didn't. We were in a niche situation, and Samsara didn't make sense for us. So,
Interesting.
and we also are trying right now to work on. We're within the 150-mile radius, so we're actually trying to work without an ELD. We'll see how it goes. We may have to get one, but right now we're working with Flint on time stuff, just based on some creative things with the cameras. So,
yeah, and we can provide you an ELD when and if you need it. And also, Ken, I'd mention, and I know there's a few things of those cameras that were workflow stuff that we're working on with you, but also way cheaper than Samsara. Like Samsara and Motive are pretty expensive relative to what we can set you up with a camera right? For pretty comparable outputs. So, yeah. Well, good. This, any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Douglas, it looks like he stayed paying attention the whole time. I just can't figure out
he
what all
did. He's got his
thinking
camera
on
on.
his head.
It's been quiet though.
Just listening and learning. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, if nothing else, I really appreciate it. I know this was really informal. I hope you found it useful. We're always here. So if you think of something after this call, shoot us a note. We're excited to see everybody at the Line Haul Summit, and then later this year in Orlando for the FedEx Summit. So we appreciate your business, and we're here to serve you. So let us know how we can help. Absolutely. All right. Thank you all. Have a great day.